Every living thing on Earth needs sleep. Scientists have found sleep in insects, in fish, in reptiles, in jellyfish. Sleep appears to be as fundamental to life as eating and breathing. And yet, some animals appear to have found a way around it entirely. No rest, no downtime, no vulnerable moment of unconsciousness, just continuous, unbroken awareness for days, weeks, sometimes an entire lifetime. The animals in this video broke one of biology's most fundamental rules, and science is still trying to understand how. Welcome to Flora Fana. 1. Bullfrogs. For decades, the American bullfrog was listed in scientific literature as an animal that does not sleep. Researchers tested it repeatedly, monitoring brain activity, response times, and alertness across every hour of the day and night. The bullfrog responded to stimuli equally at all hours. No drop in alertness, no period of reduced brain activity, no detectable sleep state. The current scientific understanding is that bullfrogs may enter a restful state during hibernation, but during their active months, they appear to remain continuously alert. An animal that may spend half its life without ever losing consciousness, still watching, still waiting, always. 2. Alpine swift. The alpine swift was tracked with electronic sensors during its migration, and the data produced a result that scientists initially assumed was a malfunction. The bird stayed airborne for over 200 days continuously, not landing once, not sleeping on a branch, not touching the ground for over 6 months. They eat in the air, drink raindrops in flight, and, as the sensor data eventually confirmed, sleep in the air. Not full sleep, something called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, one half of the brain resting, while the other half maintains flight control, half asleep, still flying, for 200 days. The alpine swift redefined what it means to rest. 3. Dolphins cannot sleep the way land mammals do. They are conscious breathers, meaning breathing requires an active decision, not an automatic reflex. If a dolphin lost full consciousness, it would stop breathing and drown. The solution is the same as the alpine swift, unihemispheric sleep. One hemisphere of the brain sleeps while the other remains active, maintaining breathing, basic navigation, and awareness of the surroundings. Dolphins have been observed swimming slowly in circles during this half-sleep state, one eye open, one eye closed, each eye connected to its respective brain hemisphere. Sleeping with one eye open is not a metaphor for dolphins. It is the only option they have ever had. 4. Migratory birds. During migration, many birds face the same problem as the alpine swift. Thousands of miles of continuous flight with no safe place to land and sleep. The white-crowned sparrow has been studied extensively in this context. During migration periods, it reduces its sleep to tiny fragmented bursts, micro-sleeps of seconds scattered across the day while maintaining full cognitive function and navigation ability. In laboratory tests, sleep-deprived white-crowned sparrows during migration performed as well on cognitive tasks as fully rested birds. Their brains adapted to function on almost nothing. Outside migration season, given the opportunity to sleep normally, they sleep deeply and extensively, as if recovering the debt. Their brains know exactly what they are doing. They simply choose when to pay. 5. Walrus. The walrus has one of the most flexible sleep systems of any mammal on Earth. In the water, it can go without sleep for up to 84 hours, continuously swimming, feeding, and remaining alert. It achieves this through a combination of brief floating naps at the surface and the ability to hook its tusks over ice edges and hang in the water while resting, a posture that keeps its head above the surface without any muscular effort. On land, however, the walrus sleeps deeply and extensively, sometimes for 19 hours continuously, recovering from extended periods of wakefulness at sea. The same animal, almost no sleep in one environment, nearly a full day of sleep in another. Biology, adapting in real time to whatever the situation requires. 6. Great frigate bird. The great frigate bird spends weeks at a time over the open ocean, far from any land, unable to land on water because its feathers are not waterproof. Tracking studies revealed it sleeps in flight, using the same unihemispheric mechanism as dolphins and the alpine swift. But the frigate bird adds something remarkable. Over the open ocean with no obstacles, it allows both hemispheres to sleep simultaneously. Brief periods of full bilateral sleep, lasting only seconds at a time, totaling perhaps 45 minutes of actual sleep across 24 hours of continuous flight. 45 minutes of total sleep per day while flying over open ocean for weeks. The great frigate bird compresses an entire night's rest into fragments so small they barely register, and somehow it is enough. 7. Sharks do not sleep in any way that resembles mammalian rest. Many species, including the great white and the mako, are obligate ram ventilators, meaning they must keep swimming continuously to force water through their gills and breathe. Stopping means suffocating. These sharks have never rested, never been still, and never lost forward momentum in their entire lives. What they may do is enter periods of reduced activity, slowing down, reducing sensory processing while still swimming. Spinal cord, not the brain, controlling the basic movement. A state that is not quite sleep and not quite wakefulness, something in between that has no precise name in human biology. The shark moves through its entire life without ever fully stopping. From the moment it is born to the moment it dies, always forward. 8. Orca. Mothers with newborn calves do not sleep for the first month after birth. Neither do the calves. Newborn orcas must swim continuously to regulate their body temperature and develop the muscle mass needed for survival, and mothers stay awake to guide, protect, and remain with them. 1 full month, no sleep, for both mother and calf. Researchers monitoring orca pairs during this period found no detectable rest state in either animal. Continuous swimming, continuous alertness, continuous activity. How their brains and bodies sustain this without the cognitive damage that sleep deprivation causes in humans is not yet fully understood. The bond between an orca mother and her newborn is enforced in part by a shared month of wakefulness that science cannot yet fully explain. 9. Tilapia host fish show some form of rest, reduced activity, a preferred resting location, decreased responsiveness to stimuli. Tilapia appear to show virtually none of it. Studies monitoring tilapia around the clock found no consistent period of reduced activity or responsiveness across any hour of the day or night. They feed, move, and respond to their environment with consistent intensity regardless of time. Whether this represents true sleeplessness or simply a sleep state too subtle for current measurement is actively debated. What is not debated is the behavior, a fish that appears, by every observable measure, to never stop. 10. Deer sleep, but barely and never safely. The average deer sleeps in fragmented bursts of 30 seconds to a few minutes, totaling perhaps 3 hours across an entire 24-hour period, and never enters deep sleep, while in open environments. It rests with one eye open, ears continuously rotating, nostrils sampling air. The slightest unfamiliar scent, sound, or movement triggers immediate full alertness from any level of rest. In a world full of predators, deep sleep is not a luxury that deer can consistently afford. They have evolved to function on the absolute minimum, extracting just enough rest to survive while spending the maximum possible time alert and aware. 3 hours of fragmented micro-sleeps, a lifetime of never fully letting go. 11. Pilot whales, giant whales, were observed by researchers off the coast of Spain doing something that looked, at first, like a group of dead whales floating at the surface. Entire pods, 10, 15, 20 animals, completely motionless, vertical in the water, heads just above the surface, for periods of up to 2 hours. They were sleeping, synchronized, simultaneously, as a group. The behavior, called logging, appears to serve a social function beyond pure rest. Pods that sleep together maintain social bonds and group cohesion. Waking one animal wakes the others. A sleeping pod is also a vulnerable one, which may be why the synchronization evolved. If something threatens the group, every animal wakes at the same moment. They rest together so they can react together. Sleep, for pilot whales, is a collective decision. 12. Horses. Horses can sleep standing up, but not deeply. The stay apparatus, a system of tendons and ligaments in the legs that locks the joints in place, allows horses to doze upright without muscular effort or risk of falling. But REM sleep, the deep restorative phase that consolidates memory and repairs the brain, requires muscle relaxation that makes standing impossible. Horses must lie down to achieve REM sleep, and lying down makes them vulnerable. In the wild, horses lie down for REM sleep only when other herd members are standing guard, typically for just a few minutes per day. A horse that feels unsafe never achieves deep sleep. A horse that lives alone may go without REM sleep indefinitely, developing neurological symptoms over time that resemble in ways that disturb researchers the effects of human sleep deprivation. Safety is not just comfort for a horse. It is a biological requirement for rest. 13. Albatross. The albatross spends years at sea without touching land. Tracking data confirmed what biologists had long suspected. It sleeps in flight, using unihemispheric sleep to rest one hemisphere at a time while the other maintains awareness. It also glides rather than flaps, using dynamic soaring, a technique that extracts energy from wind gradients above the ocean surface, allowing it to travel thousands of miles with almost no muscular effort, sleeping while gliding, covering thousands of miles for years at a time. The albatross solved the problem of rest by making flight so effortless that half a brain is sufficient to manage it. 14. Jellyfish. In 2017, researchers made a discovery that reframed the entire question of sleep in biology. Jellyfish sleep. Cassiopeia jellyfish, which rest upside down on the seafloor pulsing rhythmically, were found to reduce their pulsing rate at night, respond more slowly to stimuli, and show increased sleep drive after being kept awake. Classic sleep behavior in an animal with no brain, no central nervous system, no neurons organized into anything resembling a sleep-regulating structure, and yet something in its distributed nerve net produces a state that meets every scientific criterion for sleep, which means sleep is not a product of complex brains. It is something older, deeper, and more fundamental than that. And if jellyfish sleep, the question of which animals do not becomes even more extraordinary. Thank you for staying awake with us today. This is Flora Fana. 15. Bullfrogs Revisited plus outro bridge. The bullfrog, the alpine swift, the orca, mother and her calf. Each one found a different answer to the same impossible question. How do you survive without the thing every living creature appears to need? Some split their brains in half. Some compressed sleep into seconds. Some simply endure. And some, like the jellyfish, reminded science that the rules it thought it understood were never quite as settled as they seemed. The natural world does not follow our definitions, it writes its own. This is Flora Fana.